Every major African military power dominates headlines: Egypt, Algeria, South Africa, and Nigeria. Yet in the past decade, Kenya's defense budget has more than doubled. Its troop strength now rivals some regional giants, and the country controls a strategic crossroads for trade and security. Could this surge make Kenya the continent's next military superpower? The answer may surprise you. The details behind Kenya's rapid military transformation reveal what most analysts overlook. Kenya sits at the heart of East Africa, where land, sea, and digital routes converge. Its coastline stretches over 480 kilometers along the Indian Ocean, anchoring the vital port of Mombasa, a gateway for regional trade and a lifeline for landlocked neighbors. To the north, the Lamu Port project is reshaping logistics and security, connecting South Sudan and Ethiopia through the Lapset corridor. These corridors are not just economic arteries, they also carry immense strategic value. Undersea cables linking global internet traffic make Kenya's coastline a digital choke point, adding a new dimension to national defense. The Kenya Defense Forces, abbreviated KDF, maintain a compact but highly professional core. The Kenya Defense Forces are structured around three main branches: the Army, the Air Force, and the Navy. Each branch is designed for regional flexibility rather than sheer size. Kenya fields 24,000 active personnel, a fraction of Ethiopia's 162,000 or Egypt's 450,000. Yet the emphasis is firmly on quality. Intensive training, discipline, and interoperability with Western partners distinguish the KDF from many of its neighbors. Global Firepower's 2025 index places Kenya 83rd worldwide and 12th within Africa, ahead of Uganda and Tanzania, despite their larger troop numbers. The KDF structure supports rapid deployment and sustained operations. The Army anchors the force with mechanized infantry, armored units, and special operations teams. Kenya's Air Force operates a modest fleet: 17 combat aircraft, 87 helicopters, and 21 transport planes, tailored for surveillance, close air support, and logistics across difficult terrain. The Navy, though smaller than those of continental giants, secures Kenya's maritime approaches and protects critical infrastructure along the Indian Ocean. This professional identity is reinforced by a decade of operational experience. Kenyan forces have fought in Somalia under African Union mandates, countering al-Shabaab threats and supporting regional stability. These missions have shaped doctrine, tested leadership, and fostered a reputation for reliability. The KDF's institutional focus on training, discipline, and modern tactics stands in contrast to the mass conscript armies seen elsewhere in Africa. Kenya's geostrategic crossroads, combined with a disciplined, adaptable military, create a foundation for influence that far exceeds raw numbers. The country's position at the intersection of maritime trade, regional security, and digital infrastructure gives the KDF roles that reach beyond its borders. This blend of location and professionalism sets the stage for understanding how fiscal choices and modernization efforts are shaping Kenya's military trajectory. Over the past decade, Kenya's defense budget has doubled, rising from 72 billion shillings in 2014 to 166 billion shillings in 2024. This sustained growth places the country's military expenditure at just over 1% of gross domestic product, a figure that has held steady for 3 years. The Ministry of Defense now commands roughly $1 billion annually, absorbing about 45% of the national security budget. Most of this funding supports salaries, operational expenses, and maintenance for the Kenya Defense Forces, with a smaller but critical share of around 7 billion shillings each year, earmarked for modernization projects. Recent procurement decisions reflect a focus on technological advancement. Kenya has invested in Bayraktar TB2 drones from Turkey, bringing advanced surveillance and precision strike capabilities to the region. The acquisition of the Israeli Spider air defense system, financed through a 4 billion shillings loan, signals a new emphasis on countering aerial threats. Modern armored vehicles, anti-tank systems, and tactical upgrades for border security have also been prioritized, with suppliers ranging from the United States, France, the United Arab Emirates, and China. These purchases are not just hardware. They are part of a broader strategy to meet United Nations standards, ensuring Kenyan troops deployed abroad qualify for reimbursement and recognition. Despite these advances, the scale of Kenya's ambition reveals a substantial gap. Africa's recognized military superpowers, Egypt, Algeria, Nigeria, and South Africa, operate on defense budgets of $3 to $5 billion and maintain inventories of hundreds of tanks, fighter jets, and advanced naval assets. Kenya's current $1.2 billion allocation, while significant for East Africa, falls well short of this benchmark. The Big Four field thousands of armored vehicles and dozens of multi-role combat aircraft, supported by robust domestic defense industries. To reach this level, Kenya would need to triple its defense spending and accelerate investment in indigenous manufacturing, integrated air defense, and cyber capabilities. The modernization program's annual outlay, though a marked increase, still represents a fraction of what is required for true continental parity. The Ministry of Defense faces the challenge of balancing operational demands with the need for transformation. Every shilling spent on modernization must contend with personnel costs, fuel, and daily logistics. Yet the steady increase in funding and the targeted nature of recent acquisitions suggest a government intent on closing the gap. The question is whether this momentum can be sustained and scaled to meet the standards set by Africa's military giants. Kenya's military planners define their ambitions across 5 technical pillars: land, air, naval, cyber, and defense industry. Each domain is mapped to concrete capability goals. On land, the Kenya Defense Forces fields 188 tanks and over 3,000 operational armored vehicles, prioritizing mobility and protection for border security and rapid response. The air domain relies on a mix of 17 fighters, 87 helicopters, and 21 transport aircraft, assets chosen for versatility across surveillance, close air support, and logistics. Naval ambitions focus on securing a 480-kilometer coastline, with patrol ships and maritime surveillance platforms operating from Mombasa and the expanding facilities at Lamu. Cyber operations, still in early stages, target both defensive resilience and the protection of digital infrastructure, including undersea cables that carry a significant share of East Africa's internet traffic. Combat credibility is anchored in a decade of active deployments. Operation Linda Nchi in 2011 saw Kenyan forces cross into Somalia, launching a campaign that dismantled al-Shabaab strongholds and established lasting regional influence. The Kenya Defense Forces' experience in Somalia, sustained through the African Union Transition Mission in Somalia, has shaped doctrine and built a cadre of officers accustomed to joint operations, intelligence-led targeting, and adapting to hybrid threats. These lessons filter back into training academies and inform procurement choices, ensuring new equipment is battle-relevant rather than ceremonial. Infrastructure gives Kenya an operational edge. The Mombasa port remains the region's largest logistics hub, supporting both commercial and military supply chains. The Lamu Port, South Sudan-Ethiopia transport corridor, anchored by the new Lamu Port, extends Kenya's reach northwards, allowing for rapid troop and equipment movement toward Ethiopia and South Sudan. Undersea cable landings at Mombasa and Lamu make digital security a military concern, with Kenya Defense Forces planners factoring cyber defense into every major exercise. In this environment, hard power means more than weapons. It is the ability to move, sustain, and protect force across land, sea, and the digital domain. International partnerships have become the backbone of Kenya's military evolution. Each February, the Justified Accord exercise brings together over 1,300 troops from more than 15 countries, with Kenya as the host and operational anchor. The 2025 iteration introduces nighttime air-to-ground integration, with Kenyan pilots and ground controllers working side by side with American and European teams. The British Army Training Unit, Kenya, BATUK, has maintained a permanent presence at Nanyuki for decades, running joint field exercises and specialist training that sharpen Kenya Defense Forces, KDF, readiness for both peacekeeping and high-intensity conflict. These alliances give Kenyan commanders access to advanced doctrine, technology, and logistics support, advantages that no regional rival can match. Yet the path to top-tier military status is shaped as much by constraints as by opportunity. Kenya's external debt now stands at roughly $30 billion, while defense spending has hovered near 1% of gross domestic product for 3 years. The annual budget, just over $1.2 billion, must cover personnel, operations, and the slow but steady pace of modernization. Parliamentary oversight is limited by classified procurement, and only select acquisitions like the Israeli Spider air defense system are made public. Regional dynamics add further complexity. Neighbors such as Ethiopia and Tanzania have little incentive to see Kenya claim uncontested military leadership, and balancing these relationships requires careful diplomacy. By 2035, Kenya's most plausible outcome is a spot among Africa's top 5 or 6 military powers. With sustained economic growth and continued foreign cooperation, the Kenya Defense Forces, KDF, could serve as East Africa's primary security hub. a leader in drone warfare and cyber defense, and a logistical anchor for multinational operations. Full continental dominance remains out of reach, but regional superpower status, anchored in professionalism, partnerships, and strategic geography, is well within the realm of possibility. Kenya now invests $1.2 billion annually in defense, more than triple a decade ago. As regional threats evolve, its choices will ripple across East Africa's stability and security. Ultimately, military power is only as strong as the vision behind it. What shape will that vision take next? Share your thoughts below.